CAPCUT offers a comprehensive version for personal computers, and it also provides a version for mobile devices, tablets, and other platforms complete with its applications. However, in this instance, we are going to explore an extensive tutorial ranging from the most basic to slightly more advanced techniques on how to utilize CAPCUT for both PC and Mac. This is possible through its website, or alternatively, we can download it. Therefore, initially, to begin this process, we need to register, so we navigate to the CAPCUT website. I will include it in the video description so you can proceed and register directly. Now, let's proceed to the upper right corner where it states register. This action will automatically redirect us to a web page where we have the option to register using Google or TikTok, since CAPCUT is actually derived from TikTok and Facebook, or even with CAPCUT for mobile if we already possess an account created within the app. In my situation, I will proceed with Google. We will log in here, simply confirm, and once we are registered, it will display our name. Subsequently, we need to name our space, which will serve as our editing space where I can invite individuals. That's what's appealing about CAPCUT, that multiple individuals can collaborate on video editing with me. So I will just open CAPCUT, and here it informs us that our account has been activated. Now here we commence. This is our foundational platform. Here we need to select personal use, student, content creator, and so forth. This is contingent upon what you intend to accomplish, so in this particular scenario, I am going to opt for content creator and engage in video projects, and here entertainment and video advertisements, and then proceed to send. Completed, you have the option to bypass this segment if you prefer. In my situation, I completed it because, as you can observe, as soon as I did, these templates refreshed below, since CAPCUT is significantly reliant on templates. Based on your responses, it will suggest some video templates. Nevertheless, we have numerous options for utilizing this platform. The first is, as I just demonstrated, we can now initiate a new video, but in this instance, I do not wish to show you that. Instead, I want us to navigate to the CAPCUT online video editor. In the download section, we have the capability to download it for both Windows and Mac operating systems. Therefore, we simply proceed to download the file from this location, open it, and install this video editing software onto our PC or Mac. This allows us to perform editing tasks directly from the same PC without the necessity of editing on the online platform, although the experience is practically identical. Ultimately, it depends on your individual preference. It requires a brief moment to launch the installer, but now it has successfully opened and it is commencing the loading process for installation. We will shortly observe how we initiate with everything. Alright, once the installation procedure has been completed, there will be a brief evaluation to assess the performance capabilities of our personal computer, so to speak, and to enhance the functionality of the CAPCUT software as well. Therefore, we simply need to continue waiting, and it indicates that we can now operate CAPCUT smoothly, which essentially means without encountering any performance issues. You might observe something different, but once we reach this point, as you can see, we have an interface that is quite similar to the website. The first point will be how to create a project, and basically it's simply by clicking here where it says new project. Once we click on new project, it brings up the entire tutorial, but in this case we are going to click exit because what we are really going to do is set everything up from scratch. So the initial step we are going to undertake is precisely what I previously mentioned, which is to establish our project. Upon its creation, the sole elements we will have available here are the subsequent ones, which encompass all the editing areas and everything of that nature. Now, what do I recommend as soon as you have created your project to adapt it to your specific needs? The initial thing you should do is navigate to the menu, then proceed here to settings, and it will indicate where the project will be stored, where the material will be stored, and whether or not you desire to delete cache files. This is dependent on each individual's preference. Then the frames, or the frame rate that we are planning to utilize, which is essentially the number of frames per second. In this particular instance, I desire it to be set at 60. Additionally, how the timecode will be displayed, meaning how it will manifest when we are editing. Whether it's the hour first, followed by the minutes, then the seconds plus the frame, or if we prefer it to appear in this manner, we can make that selection there. Regarding performance, I highly recommend keeping it as it is if you have this enabled, because it will allow the program to operate significantly better. Indeed, this has already been optimized in advance to function at its best according to all the components present in our personal computer. Next, we navigate to the language settings, and it is crucial to search for Spanish and activate it if we are not proficient in English. In this case, since this tutorial is in Spanish, we will leave it in Spanish, and it says that to do so, I need to restart the program. I simply click restart, and that's it. As you can observe here, we already possess the earlier program or the preceding project that we accessed previously. Now, this was the initial point, how to create our project, so let's proceed to comprehend the interface. And the second point is to understand the CAPCUT interface, and it's quite simple. If you have already been working with Premiere or similar programs, you will understand this one quite easily and simply. The initial thing to note is that at the upper left corner we have the menu where we are able to configure various settings, create new projects, modify the layout and set it up according to our preferences, along with additional options such as terms of service and more. However, the essence of the matter and the location where we possess the primary tools for editing is situated here within this particular section of tools. In this area, we are able to observe everything associated with the videos we have uploaded in the multimedia section. In the audio section, you possess the capability to view and search for a variety of video effects, popular viral TikTok songs, and additional content. Subsequently, to incorporate textual elements, we even possess a variety of effects, text, templates, and stickers, as you can observe in this section, which we have the capability to add. Additionally, we have a selection of video effects that we can apply as well, as you can see there. Subsequently, we proceed to the transition section, which is designed for transitioning from one video to another in an impressively stylish manner. You will need to experience it firsthand. Additionally, we also possess filters in this section, which are applied directly to a video to alter its color palette. We will explore this in greater detail later, so no need to be concerned. Subsequently, we proceed to the settings, which function similarly to certain LUTs that we have personalized. Therefore, if we possess a LUT from an alternative program, we have the capability to import it here for ultimate utilization. Subsequently, on the right-hand side, we discover everything pertaining to the project, encompassing all the intricate details. For instance, I am uncertain as to why this particular project was titled 930. I presume it might be due to the date. However, we have the ability to navigate here and alter it, assigning it a different name. Therefore, we can designate it as something like hello, welcome, or no. Perhaps let's name it Tutorial Start Cat. Additionally, here we have the option to select the aspect ratio, which signifies whether we desire it to be 16.9 or 1:1. This feature is incredibly beneficial for TikTok. Remember that for vertical format, the optimal choice is 9:16, and for horizontal format, akin to YouTube, it is 16.9, which is the initial option that appears here. Subsequently, the resolution indicates that it is tailored to the clips we utilize, but in this particular instance, I wish to personalize it, allowing us to configure it to 1920 x 1080. Following that, the frames per second in my situation is 60, and then we consider the color space. In this scenario, we can select based on the camera we are utilizing or the files we possess, which will be most suitable for us. When we initially installed this program, we might have observed that the PC was exceedingly slow and CAPCUT notified us it wouldn't operate efficiently. We have the option to enable proxies to reduce the video quality during editing, but ensure it renders with the utmost possible quality. And that's all. We simply click Save here. Subsequently, it is essential to comprehend the editing tools, and it is relatively straightforward in this section. As you proceed to the left side, precisely in the center, you will encounter the cursor followed by the option to split, the option to select towards the left, and the option to select towards the right. However, we will explore that in more detail later on. Now let's commence with the initial step, which is beginning the editing process. How do I initiate editing? The primary point and the initial step is, hello, I apologize for interrupting the video, but I wanted to remind you that if you appreciate this type of content, please don't forget to subscribe. You navigate to the upper left corner where it indicates multimedia, and once we are in this section, we proceed to the import button. Then at this point, we need to directly search for the video we intend to edit. In this instance, I'm going to select this particular video from here. As you can observe, we have already imported it and it is prepared for editing. If you don't prefer this method of importing, you can simply open a folder, locate the video you wish to edit, and just drag and drop it into the program. Now to initiate the editing process, we just need to drag this from here and position it over there, drag the video and place it onto the timeline. As you can observe, we will have various options that will become enabled once we import the video onto our timeline, because as you can clearly see, numerous additional options appear. In this particular scenario, the action we can undertake is the subsequent step. Once it has been successfully imported, and for instance, I desire this video to be suitable for TikTok, all that is required is to navigate just beneath where the video is located, proceed to the custom settings, and effortlessly alter the format here. For example, I modify it to the format that would be most suitable for TikTok, and as you can observe, it provides me with the format that is appropriate for uploading to TikTok because it is the vertical format. If I notice that I am not satisfied with it because the format evidently gets truncated since this is a horizontal video, I can simply select it and enlarge it until it appears correct. If not, I can adjust it slightly to the right by simply holding the click on the video, sliding it, and as you can observe, it ultimately results in this appearance. In that particular instance, I am able to, for example, make the necessary adjustments here, and as you can observe in this context, we could have the entire video appearing excellent. As you can observe, we have it fully adapted, but in this particular instance, let's assume we are going to edit a horizontal video. By simply pressing Ctrl Z multiple times, we can revert back to the starting point. Now let's proceed to the editing section, and to execute the editing process, as you can observe, the clip appears relatively small. I desire to zoom in to clearly identify which segments I could edit and which segments I couldn't. To achieve this, simply hold down Ctrl or Command on a Mac and then utilize the cursor or the mouse wheel to zoom in, and as you can observe, the clip enlarges. If the mouse wheel doesn't operate for you, you can press Ctrl or Command on your keyboard and use the plus key to zoom in, and as you can observe, the clip enlarges each time. This assists us in seeing in greater detail which segments contain audio. For instance, as you can observe here, the audio seems to be low, so it might not say anything at this point and the conversation might commence here. Similarly, to zoom out, simply hold down Ctrl and use the mouse wheel backward, or press the minus key, which is Ctrl or Command plus the minus key, and as you can observe, it zooms in and out based on our preference. Let's say we wish to do what I mentioned earlier, where the audio might not contain anything at the beginning. So I start speaking here, but even though my mouth is moving, you can barely hear anything. The only action I can take to cut this beginning is to navigate to the start of the clip, position myself precisely on this line, hold down, and then slide to the right until I reach the point I wish to cut. As you can observe, it's already cut, and all that's left is the actual start of the video, so that's how it would function. To eliminate the initial and final sections, it operates in a notably similar manner. You simply navigate to the conclusion of the clip. Indeed, as you can observe here, I cease speaking, and what I am able to do is precisely the same. Position myself at the segment, drag it to the left, release it, and as you can observe, the clip is already edited at both the beginning and the end. However, let's envision that I don't wish to trim the start and the conclusion, but instead I desire to cut a middle section. Suppose that precisely in this segment here I uttered something I didn't intend to say or made a gesture I prefer not to display. Alright, in this section we are about to commence utilizing the various tools that are displayed at the upper part of the screen, which are these ones right here, or alternatively the section over here that I previously demonstrated and mentioned we would explore further for the purpose of editing. So, simply where it indicates divide, we click and we have a tool that individuals who have previously edited in another program might already recognize as the blade or cut tool. We can access this tool by clicking here and selecting it once more, or simply by pressing the letter B on our keyboard, and we'll observe that it automatically becomes selected. For instance, let's imagine that I desire to eliminate this specific segment from this particular point to that distinct segment over there where an audible noise is present. I will click precisely on the section I intend to cut, and then on the concluding part I wish to cut, which is situated over here. Once I have completed that, I can return to selecting the selection tool or simply press the A key to select it once more. I choose the clip I want to remove and simply hit delete, and it automatically removes it. This creates a cut here, and I've removed the portion that I perhaps didn't want to appear in my video because maybe there was an unusual sound or I was saying something I shouldn't have, etc, etc. Now we proceed to a different aspect, which involves the method of incorporating B-rolls or supplementary videos. These are the types of videos where I might be present here discussing a puppy and I wish for a video of a barking puppy to appear in order to reinforce the topic I am addressing. In other programs, this can be tedious because you'd need to open the browser, search online, download the video, and then upload it here. In this particular scenario, what we are able to do is navigate to the library and directly search for the specific content we desire. For instance, here are various clips available. We might not always find precisely what we require unless we search extensively on the internet, but essentially what we can do is, for example, if I wish to insert that image or video of the hamburgers I was observing earlier, I simply click on it and it downloads. Then I can drag it and position it exactly over the area where I want the hamburgers to appear, and as you can observe, they do appear, so if I play it, it will display right above me in this instance. Similarly, if its duration is excessively long, I can trim it by holding the click at the end and adjusting it to merely a few seconds, and that's it. If I play it here, as you can see, it appears briefly and then vanishes. If the video isn't present here, we utilize the same prior method, which involves going here, clicking on import, uploading the video, and it will appear here where I already have this video. What I can do is, for instance, imagine this one labeled as example, and I drag it and place it right on top, and as you can see, it functions in the same manner. An important aspect that just occurred here is that sometimes the format isn't identical to the original video format I have below. As you can see, there are some borders that aren't filled, so what I can do is select the clip, go to scale and increase it, and as you can see, I adjust it to the size I require, and now it fills 100% of the screen, and then after this clip I appear once more. Now, how do we add text to our project? Essentially, we're going to proceed with the following steps. We're going to navigate to the section labeled as text, and here we will encounter various methods to accomplish this task, either by utilizing preset options or by starting from scratch. So let's envision that we desire to incorporate some effect into this. For instance, I want this particular one that says wah, and I simply download it and then drag it and position it precisely over the location where I want it to manifest. For example, I want it to appear directly in front of or just above the hamburgers. And to literally modify the text, I double click on it here in the preview tab on this screen. On the right side, it will enable me to edit it, so I simply type hamburgers here and it automatically adapts the text, although it still requires a bit of adjustment because it ends up as Hamburg and then ERs, which doesn't function well for us. How do we modify this? Essentially, all we need to do is experiment with this line segment. Let's input another numeral, for instance, a 20, and as you observe, it alters there, or we could input a 15, although here the as is omitted, so I assume with a 16 it would fit. Let's check, not 17 nor 18, 19, with a 19 it fits, so we could experiment with that. Subsequently, we assign the text a style. We can apply a background here, perhaps a green background, a yellow text here. Or we can also, by holding the click on the text of the layer we are editing, reposition it to appear precisely where we desire. And as you observe, if I press play here, the word hamburgers automatically manifests and positions itself atop my video. I can utilize all the templates that appear here. As you observe all these templates, you just need to examine and determine which type of text you prefer, or if you don't desire anything overly extravagant, simply use the basic one, place it on top, and as you observe, it appears in a rather simple style. In fact, we can alter that. For instance, I can input the trip of my dreams like this and position it here. Let's say I don't prefer it being white, so I can navigate here where it says color, click on where the white is and alter the color. I can even make it green here, place the trip of my dreams, make the style slightly broader, make all the letters uppercase by pressing here, or all lowercase, or just have the initials in uppercase. So I can reposition it there, also align it in case I want it centered to the right, to the left, and select the style again. Or if I don't desire any style, I just click here where this circle is, like a lock, and as you observe, it alters again and removes all the style. I can reconfigure it and incorporate more elements. Here I add preset styles, and if I find the text excessively large or too small, here in scale I can make it smaller or even larger in position. This is to reposition it up and down, left to right, depending on whether it's X or Y. As you observe, if I start moving this, for instance, I can input 500, and as you observe, it moves to the right, and if I move Y to 500, it will move from top to bottom. As you observe, it descended, and then opacity is how much we desire the text to be visible. For instance, I can lower it here, and as you observe, it's somewhat opaque, meaning it appears somewhat transparent. Then the stroke color, which is the border the text possesses, I can make it red if I desire, and then experiment with all these options. The background, I can incorporate a white background here. Let's apply it. As you observe, it appears like that. Then experiment with brightness. I add brightness, but since the text is black and the brightness is black, it doesn't appear great, so we could make it red. And then a shadow also to the text. Many prefer to add this shadow to their texts. Then a curve. Let's deactivate the background here to activate the curve, because otherwise we couldn't. And as you observe, what it does is essentially create a curvature to the text, and this can also be modified depending on the amount of curvature we desire to assign. And that's essentially how we incorporate text in Cap. Now, to incorporate transitions, we simply need to join two clips. For instance, I'm going to join these two. I'll remove the text here so we don't get distracted. Simply delete it in the timeline, and that's it. And to incorporate these transitions, we simply navigate here where it says transitions, and here we will observe all the transitions we can utilize. Let's utilize some that are trending. If we have the cursor over the transition, we can observe a preview. We utilize this shake too, simply download it, and what we can do is come here and drag it, and this one we don't place on top but directly in the middle of the two clips and release it. And as you observe here, we simply click OK, and as you observe here, the transition is set. So look, if I press play, you observe that the transition alters there. So if I delete this, absolutely nothing will appear. It just transitions from one clip to another. And that way you can search for all these transitions that appear here and proceed towards now. In the effects section, what can we accomplish? How do we incorporate effects on TikTok? It follows the same procedure. We will search for effects, typically opting for those that are currently trending. We select this one, which is quite impressive, and it provides a preview of how it would appear in the video. For this instance, we apply the effects directly atop the video, specifically on the hamburgers here, and observe the outcome. If you examine closely at the very end, some small lightning bolts become visible representing this particular effect. It might not be very prominent, but notice right here in the bread section, it alters slightly. However, let's introduce another effect to enhance the visibility of the difference. Let's incorporate this dizzy effect and see if it permits us to do so. Observe, this one is more discernible. Notice the effect it introduces. It's genuinely quite impressive. It appears very appealing, and these are preset effects that we can integrate here through Cap. Now let's imagine that we have thoroughly completed the editing of all this content and we are enthusiastic about incorporating background audio. The next step is to integrate music seamlessly. You can easily navigate here and make use of the trending music available on TikTok. This is a crucial consideration because if we are uploading it to TikTok, there won't be any issues, but if we are uploading it to another platform, we might encounter copyright complications. Therefore, it is advisable to consistently use extracted audio. You can download it from the YouTube audio library. To locate it, simply search for Audio Library YouTube, but ensure you access the official one directly from YouTube. Or alternatively, you can use Pixabay. Download it and upload it here. In this scenario, let's download one from Pixabay. We'll download any track, for instance this one here. No one will hear it, neither you nor I, but we'll just click on import, locate it in our downloads, double click on it, and it will appear here. Unlike videos and effects, it doesn't go above or on top. It goes underneath everything at the very end. Why is that? Because these audio tracks are organized in this way. First comes the audio, then the video, followed by the effects and the other videos. So we simply place it and it works just like the videos. We can remove the final part, the initial part, and then we would have the song. Now, if we desire to reduce the volume of the music, we can effortlessly do so by selecting the audio clip and navigating to the upper right corner where the volume control is located, and then we make the necessary adjustments. We play it back and listen. If it still sounds excessively loud, we can decrease it a bit further. This appearance and disappearance effect, which is visible here, can be enhanced. As we observe here, we can discern that at the beginning it creates a fade-in effect, meaning the music commences very softly and gradually increases in volume. The same principle applies in reverse for the fade-out effect, which is situated at the conclusion of the clip. If I proceed to the very end here and I add this and enhance it, you can observe that at the end it creates an effect. Well, you might not perceive it because it's quite subtle, but as you can see, it creates an effect. That black line there. We're nearly finished with this tutorial, and the subsequent point is how to alter the color of the video. Let's say I don't want to appear this way and perhaps think I could enhance the color. For that, I can go here where it says filters and utilize one of the options available here. For instance, this one, and as you can see, it automatically applies to my video, allowing me to see how it appears. However, if I desire and didn't find that one appealing, I can select another because honestly, that one didn't seem very attractive. This one doesn't appeal to me much either. Let's explore from the highlights, perhaps this one here. Well, this one doesn't either, nor this one. Well, let's pretend that. Well, let's examine this scenario. Perhaps this Oppenheimer effect. Let's imagine we desire a video in the Oppenheimer style. Once it has been downloaded, we simply drag it and position it over the video. And as you can observe, I am able to modify the strength, meaning the intensity of the effect. I can adjust it to approximately 60. And another aspect is that if I possess multiple clips, as you can see here, the effect was applied to the second clip but not the first one due to the fact that I cut them. So I perform the same action, I just drag the effect and place it over the other video, which is this one here, and subsequently it would be applied to both effects, both clips. And if I wish, I can incorporate it into this track over here, although, well, the effect was added somewhat inadequately here because I didn't truly intend to add it there, but it serves to illustrate that there's an effects tab here. This is beneficial if we do not wish to apply it to a specific video, but rather to all the videos we possess. We add it, for instance, let's remove this from here. We add this one here, position it directly on top, and as you can observe, you can extend this, and now all the videos beneath my effect will have that color applied. All of them, all of them, all of them, so there it would be dry. And ultimately, how do we incorporate subtitles into our video? Suppose we have completed everything, we proceed directly to the text section, navigate to where it indicates automatic subtitles, select the language the individual is speaking in the video. In this instance, it's Latin American Spanish, and we click create. It will automatically commence generating the automatic subtitles. This process will require some time depending on the video's duration. If it lasts 5 minutes, it will take a brief time, but if it lasts longer, it will take a bit more time. But here they are already generated. As you can observe, I already have the subtitles in place. By simply selecting them all here with a single click and opening this to select them all, I can come here and apply an effect to the subtitles to make them have a more significant impact if that's what I desire. So if I play it, as you can observe, all the subtitles are generated there, but these subtitles are not flawless. So the idea is to correct any inaccuracies. For instance, here I don't say tundo and it appeared as tundo, but what I actually say is rotondo. So I can come here, double click, and on the right it allows me to modify the text. So I will put rotondo, and as you can observe, it has updated and changed the text. Finally, now I want to conclude this video. I've already completed it. I've added everything. Well, now it's time to export it. Let's go to the top right. Let's decide how we want to export it. In this case, what will be saved for export, we won't be able to choose a specific bitrate, but we can choose if we want it to be lower, recommended, higher, or customize it. However, in this case, I don't recommend customizing it, just leave it as recommended. But what we can adjust is the resolution, meaning if we want KK, but obviously the idea is to export at the same quality we edited, which was P, and that's it. Once selected, we simply give our creation a title like Final Tutorial, and here we will export it, and I will save it on my desktop and select the folder here. Once I have done that, I click export, or if I want, I can also export the audio to be an MP and simply click export. As you can observe, this bar starts loading from 0% to 100%, and when it reaches 100%, we will be able to view the video, which will be saved on the desktop or in the folder we chose. So let's wait and see the results. Okay, the videos have been exported. Here is the final result. As you can observe, we have it here. At the end, there is a black screen because I left a very long audio, so I just need to adjust it so that the screen doesn't end up black. And that's basically it, my friends. I hope you liked this video. See you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.